Throughout the United States history, there has and continues to always be some type of product that significantly impacts the economy during its time. This product turns into a franchise that eventually begins to spread fast. As it spreads, it builds a strong industry. This industry has the power to shape and evolutionize the country. Over time, it greatly affects the society and economy of the United States during its time of reign. In the mid-1800s, cotton became the revolutionary resource and product. In its time, it was one of the most profitable cash crop for the United States that significantly impacted its economy and national industry. For a while, cotton had been a cash crop used worldwide, but not very marketable. It was planted and grown on fields and maintained by lots of slaves. In the beginning, cotton had to be hand separated by removing seeds from cotton fiber. Then the cotton would be used to make clothing. There was two different types of cotton, long staple and short staple. Long staple was easier to separate the seeds from the cotton fiber, but harder to find. On the other hand, short staple was harder to separate, but very common. In the 1800s, the cotton industry grew in demand and profitability. However, there needed to be an easier way to separate cotton. At first, there were machines to help long staple separation, but not until Eli Whitney were there machines for short staple. He created the cotton gin, a machine used to separate short staple cotton. The machine had a hand-cranked cylinder with wire teeth that was used to remove seed. Over time, the machine was used all over the South and very useful for planters. Planters are farmers that own 20 or more slaves. Soon, even more farmers, some who didn't even grow cotton, began to grow it. This was the start of a very fast-growing industry. Since the invention, the cotton industry has spread rapidly. During this time, there was the Indian Removal Act, which helped open more land for cotton growth. It went from the South to Virginia and North Carolina to very far west, like Texas. In this area, cotton production was known as the Cotton Belt. By the mid-1800s, cotton production grew to 1 billion pounds. In 1840s, the United States had begun to produce more than half of the cotton for the whole world. This helped the United States economy in many ways, especially for the South. There was an increase in settlers and wealth among the wealthy white Southerners. There were many advantages of the cash crop cotton. It wasn't very expensive to market. It could also be harvested and stored for long periods of time. Cotton weighed less, so it was easier for it to be transported. However, one disadvantage was cotton absorbed many of the nutrients in soil. As the years passed, the land started to become very hard for anything to grow. The farmers had to find solutions to make sure the land stayed fertile. With the help of agricultural scientists, they were able to find two solutions. The first was rotating the crops planted. The second was experimenting with soil chemistry. However, agricultural scientists did not stop there. Instead, they began experimenting with crossbreeding cotton. In the Cotton Belt, they crossbred short staple cotton with other types. One of the hybrid cottons that was known as the Petit Gauche, which was led to even more cotton growth expansion. Slaves were very important to the cotton industry. They worked with the cotton the most. Slaves started by clearing new land for the cotton growth. Then they had to plow and plant the land to get it back in a good fertile state. Next, they had to plant and take care of the cotton plants. The harvested cotton was then grinded, pressed into balls, and shipped to be sold. Since they did so much work, the demand for slaves increased. Import of slaves had been illegal in 1808, but the cotton industry led to more demand for slaves. As a result, there was an increase in slave trade within the United States. After slaves prepared the cotton, special agents sold them from markets to customers with insurance for loss or damage. Then there are factories where items are produced that will help farmers with the production of cotton. The cotton industry was doing incredibly well. By the 1860s, the cotton industry was booming. As the years passed, the cotton production dramatically increased. The amount of land used for cotton growth continued to flourish as well. In the South, the cotton growth was extremely great. Not long, this very established industry gained its own name with a huge impact. The United States Senate from South Carolina, James Henry Hammond, said, "Cotton is king." in one of his 1858 speeches. He explained the significance of cotton to the world, and the southern cotton was the most valuable resource on the world. The United States had begun trading cotton with many different countries globally. One of the country's most valuable trading partner was Great Britain. Great Britain had a great demand for cotton. It was used in their cotton textile factories to make cloth. A good portion of Great Britain's population was dependent on the cotton textile manufacturing. The South of the United States had supplied 75% of Great Britain's cotton mills. This was the start of a very big worldwide trade. There was also a process for the cotton trade. Once cotton was labored by the slaves, it was shipped to major ports. During the cotton trade, there was an increase of port cities in the South. Some of them include Charlestown, Savannah, and New Orleans. The port was managed by crops brokers called factors. Farmers sold their cotton to merchants, who then sold it to factors. They would help advise farmers on loans and investments on profits. The factors would then arrange for transportation of cotton on trading ships by going to ports. Majority of the cotton was shipped to ports going through routes on Mississippi River. After going to the ports, cotton was shipped to textile mills. The cotton industry was very beneficial to the United States. It was prominent to continue and increase their cotton production. The key to their cotton production were the slaves. As a result, there was a large demand for more slaves. This helped the South in its fight with the Civil War. It gave them power and motive for their treatment of slaves. They continued to look at them in a prejudiced way. This added to one of the reasons for their role in the Civil War, as well as their side on the war, which was to continue to have enslaved African Americans. Cotton boom was one of the most significant aspects for the United States history. In the 1800s, the cotton industry was very profitable. It was very beneficial to the country's economy. It ruled the United States industry and trade. It will always be remembered as King Cotton.